Can you do a Fortnite Let's Play? Can you do a Fortnite Let's Play? Can you do a Fortnite Let's Play? Can you? Loading screen asks, what's your persona? A Raichu or a rodent? Next question. Comedy Pants Gamer asks, Vale, can you eat my pants? No, because they'd taste funny. Ha, get it? Comedy Pants? Funny? Yonark asks, are you going to TanaCon? I'm so sorry. If someone would develop a time machine just so I can go back in time to TanaCon, I would fucking do it, no question. Lock M asks, in episode 2F09, when Ichi plays Scratchy Skeleton like a xylophone, he strikes the same rib twice in succession, yet he produces two clearly different tones. I mean, what are we, to believe that this is some sort of a magic xylophone or something? Of all the questions you could think of to ask me, this was it? Alright. Whatever floats your boat. Sure, man, I mean, it's a cartoon, magical xylophone. I don't fucking know how to answer that. I deadass don't know how to respond. Fortenbergers asks, why do you seem to say my dudes a lot? I don't know, I guess the phrase my dudes is just kind of chill, so whenever I use it, like when I'm tweeting or commenting or something, it's just to sort of show that I don't mean any sort of ill intent, or I'm just chill or something, I don't know. You know what I mean? Azimuth, you fuck, asks, do you like the Spiral of Carnage more than the Bouncer? You know, nah, I don't think so. I think the Bouncer is still the best weapon. Well, the Bouncer from 2 and 3 specifically. The Bouncer from 2016, I don't know how I never brought it up, but that Bouncer fucking sucks. Even though the little bomblets home in on enemies, it just, I don't know, it loses a lot of the impact that the original Bouncer had. But the Bouncer from 2 and 3, still the best weapon in the series, I reckon. Spiral Carnage is still a very, very close second. Bloke out of the first asks, the UK is facing nice weather at the moment, which means hell must be freezing over, so what's it like being surrounded by all that snow and ice?
Hey, you know what, man? You tell me. I'm actually freezing, please help.
Builderfish8 asks, what got you into YouTube? Was it just a fuck it, let's try this, or did something else happen that made you start? Kind of a little bit of both. My experience with YouTube wasn't all that involved. Like, I only started watching YouTube around about 2011, and I was mostly only watching the videos that my friends showed me, so people like Ray William Johnson and Smosh, which, but then once I moved out of home where I didn't have internet, and then I moved in with a friend who did have internet, and then I discovered YouTube for myself, and I started watching creators like Game Grumps, Jontron, a whole bunch of other Let's Players who I've pretty much forgotten at this point. I was just kind of like, hey, why not? Let's give this a try. So I ordered a capture card, and it just pretty much went from there. That was back in 2013 though, so there's a bit of a gap between then and when I actually started getting some subscribers. 11th of December 2017, Never Forget asks, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? What the actual fuck is wrong with you people? Bloke out of the first, Dave, asks, IRL, do you know a bloke called Dave? Because everyone knows a bloke called Dave. Yeah, actually, I think I know 5 of them. They're all pretty chill too. Like, if you ever meet a person called Dave, they're likely gonna be like the most chill person you've ever met. I've said chill like way too much in this video so far. valeforXD is gay asks... valeforXD is gay asks, how many beers do you drink daily? None. Absolutely none.
Blokeadder the first, Dave, asks, have you ever watched Blackadder?
Hell yeah, man. The fact that nothing on TV lives up to Blackadder makes me want to move to Nepal, where I would intend to live as a goat. Jules, less than 3, asks, just a quickie for you, mate, but would you pound a female Lucario if you had the chance? Let's just say the gender's not really important. Footenburgers asks, what happened to your friend that came up with today I queef, tomorrow I oof? Mostly because I noticed that everything wrong with Into the Nexus and the Ratchet and Clank movie are lacking a beautiful quote from him. I don't know, I guess we just sort of didn't think about it. That wasn't really like a planned thing. He literally just snuck into my room and added his own little note at the bottom of my page. And also, he messaged me while I was playing, so it just kind of went in because I thought it was funny for some fucking reason. CL9 asks, do you have any least favorite Ratchet and Clank weapon? I don't know if I could name one off the top of my head in terms of usefulness, but I think overall, like, just thinking back on the games and which weapons I use the most and which I use the least, I think maybe the Plasma Beasts. There's just something about them, you know, they're just so forgettable, really. Math Triquia? Oh god. Math Trickware asks, how many wins in Fortnite? 0. The highest I've come is probably 6th, and that was without firing a single shot. That was just me wandering around the map. Safe to say I am a filthy casual, and I will probably never get a victory royale. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'll let you guys decide. OxV, or Ox5 or something, asks, have you ever died? If not, try it out. I've died at least 5 times. From a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 11 in how good the experience is. If you follow the acquaintances canon, which I imagine most of you probably don't, I actually died on, I think it was episode 11 of the Pokemon Leaf Green Nuzlocke, in which I lost 3 or 4 Pokemon in the one episode and decided it was just time to kill myself. So I killed myself that episode, came back the next episode as a ghost. So every episode of valeforXD you've seen so far, canonically, I am dead. Ham Plays asks, will you do a meetup for all your Australian fans? Absolutely, man. I'd love to do one. I guess it's just a matter of waiting until one of those cons is on, I guess, like VidCon. VidCon's literally going right now as I'm speaking in Australia, but I just didn't have time to plan for it. But yeah, hopefully one day, yeah, I'd love to meet you guys, you know? Then you can see how much of an awkward, anxious piece of shit I am in real life. My boy asks, I love your voice, my dude, but if you could replace your voice with anyone else's, whose voice would you have? Alright, so I've just thought about this. If we're talking, like, say, on the YouTube side of things, I'd probably go with my man, the Cartoon Gamer. There's a possibility he may be watching this, and if you are, hello. I love his voice, it's so unique. He's probably gotten all sorts of comments about this already, but, you know, I love his voice. It's so fucking unique, man. If we're talking maybe voice actors, I'd probably pick someone like Xander Mobus, who not only has one of the coolest voices in the game, but one of the coolest names in the game. You'll probably know him from playing the protagonist from Persona 5, as well as the announcer from Super Smash Bros. Wii U. Or Ben Diskin, who played, what did he play? Shoutmon in the newer Digimon cartoons, the main character from Erased, whose name escapes me at the current point in time, and number 1 and number 2, I think it was, from Codename Kids Next Door. Yeah, I don't know, one of those 3, why not? Grenade Man Blitz asks, here's my big question. How's it feel knowing that 20,000 people enjoy you to the point that they actively want to see more of your stuff? Fucking terrible. Just reading that now has kind of put it into perspective, because the town that I live in, it has, it's a fairly decently large town. It has like around 5,000 people as of 2016, so it might be a little bit more than that, but 5,000 people. So my town 4 times over is subscribed to me, and that's fucking surreal to think of. Man Bear Pig asks, I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but how come the avatar you use in your videos and thumbnails doesn't really look that much like you? No, it's fine, I get it, I sort of did that intentionally. On one hand, I wouldn't exactly call myself a looker, so basing my avatar directly off of me might turn a few people off my videos, I would think. On the other hand, I kind of just made a design that I liked that vaguely resembled me, and also I was kind of going more for an angle that I was playing a character rather than playing myself, kind of like Shammy. So essentially, well, supposedly, I guess, the person you hear reviewing games on valeforXD is more of an exaggerated caricature of myself rather than myself, if you kind of get what I'm saying. I think I need to work a little bit better at actually getting that across, but that's sort of the angle I'm aiming for. Though he's not a very good avatar, so he's probably getting a redesign. Either I'm going to learn how to draw, or I'm just going to fucking commission someone. Beck Jansens asks, maybe I'm a closed-minded American, but why do you sound exactly identical voice-wise to the YouTuber Softcore? Hang on, let me just look this up. Oh no, he's one of these Reddit YouTubers.
If time is money, then is an ATM a time machine? That's what ATM stands for. A time machine.
What the actual fuck? I said nothing like that. How would you bloody Yanks feel if I walked up to one of you and I said, man, you sure sound like fucking, who's an American? David Hasselhoff. Fucking rude little pricks. Jojo MC the Great asks, in the Athens 2004 video, was that story about that Stacy girl true? I mean, kinda, I guess. Replace Stacy with the sports teacher more than anything. I kinda remember, it was like back in the 5th grade or something, we all had to do laps around the oval. I think it was 5 laps, maybe? And we had to run 5 laps before the lunch bell rang, and I made it to about 4 laps along with a few other kids, and once the bell rang, the people who'd finished it got to go and have lunch and enjoy the lunch and shit, while me and the others who didn't make it were forced to sit down on the bank while the sports teacher came over and said, so why didn't you finish the fucking race, huh? Look, I mean, he didn't swear, but so that was real nice, you know, sitting on the bank of the oval, just being fucking humiliated. So, you know, good teaching skills there, Mr. Sports Teacher. Thank you, fucking cunt. Mega Man B... Oh, I thought that said BS. Mega Man 85 asks, would you limit yourself to sin the games that you have personally put time into playing over the years, or would you sin any game? Nah, man, I'll go for any game, so long as it's something that I'm interested in, I guess. Though, if it's a new game I haven't played before, I probably will play it once over, just so I can sort of get a feel for the game, so then the second time when I'm playing through, I'm not so much focusing on enjoying the game, well, not enjoying the game, but just experiencing the game for the first time, more so than I am trying to look for sins. Nath HD123 asks, have you ever wanted to say something in a YouTube video, a joke or something like that, but then whilst you were editing the video, you deemed it too inappropriate? I came extremely close to cutting out the little bit of dialogue I had at the end of the Athens 2004 video, where I imitated a Kenyan man very poorly. But other than that, no, I don't really think so. Like, I have sort of been edgy with a couple of my jokes here and there, but never to the point where I've thought, maybe I shouldn't put this in. Sonic659659 asks, if you could transform into any creature, what would you transform into? Any, huh? Okay, I have to try and pick something without sounding like a furry. Either Raichu, because he's pretty much just the animal version of myself, he's cute, he's round, and he's orange and brown, or a dragon, because a dragon does a much better job at hoarding their treasure or income or whatever than I possibly ever could. I could learn a thing or two from a dragon, instead of impulse buying every fucking indie game I ever see on PS4. Yadun asks, what's your opinion on some other Final Fantasy games? To be honest, I haven't played too many. 10, 12... Chocobo's Dungeon. 10, 12, and Chocobo's Dungeon are really the only ones I've ever finished, but I've dabbled briefly with 7, 9, 13, 15. 10's obviously one of my favorite games pretty much ever. Same with 12, actually. 12 might arguably be better, I'm not too sure. I think the characterization and the world building and all that is better in 10, but 12 just has a much more interesting progression system. It's way less linear, and also arguably has the better soundtrack. And Chocobo's Dungeon, the only other Final Fantasy game that I'm not even sure if I finished. I think I came very close, but I would buy the shit out of that again on Wii if it weren't like, how much? Like $50, $60 or something? Oh.
Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody launches this winter.
I Am a Person asks, are you hyped for any games coming out this year? Hell yeah, my man. I mean, when this video is coming out, Dragon Quest XI is probably out by this point. It's probably fucking rad. Forza Horizon 4 comes out at the end of the month. That's gonna be fucking good too. Spyro, unfortunately, it got pushed back, but I'm really looking forward to that as well. And of course, Smash Ultimate, because you can't not be hyped for that. Brendan Lee asks, what's a dead franchise you'd like to see make a return? Man, there's so many, but thinking off the top of my head, does anybody remember the PS1 racing game Roll Cage? On top of that, I wouldn't mind seeing Project Gotham Racing make a comeback, though I guess Forza Horizon is kind of a spiritual successor, except open world. Also, I'd love to see some of those PS2 platformers like Scalar either get reboots or remakes or something, or full-on sequels, because some of those platformers didn't quite reach their full potential due to either their budget status or just the fact that they weren't particularly good games, but they had potential, and I'd really like to see some of them come back, especially Scalar. Scalar's fucking cool. Blue Gamer asks, have you watched any of the Equestria Girls movies? If so, then what is your favorite movie from the series? Alright, so I had to Google that, and what the fuck? I didn't know there was a human pony cartoon. What the fuck? What do you guys assume that I've watched all the My Little Pony episodes just because I did that My Little Pony games fucking video thing? I even said at the start, I've only watched the first 2 episodes of the entire cartoon, so yeah, no, I have not seen Equestria Girls. I do not plan on it either. Eric Morales asks, when are you going to do a Sin video on Before the Nexus? Every time someone asks this, a puppy dies. Think about that. Darren Fortner asks, how's life from the land down under? To be specific, what is your favourite part and your least favourite part of living in Australia? Probably my favourite and least favourite part of Australia at the same time is the weather. Like, okay, today, the day I'm recording this audio on, it's gone from being like the most perfect fucking start to spring you could ever think of, and now it's just pissing down rain. And sometimes it can be like that. Sometimes it can just be the worst, most humid and like terribly hot weather for like a month straight, and then after that it can just be pissing down for a week. Sometimes it doesn't even piss down, sometimes it just keeps on being hot. Even in winter I was tempted to go into the shed and get the fan back out, because fucking hell, some of those winter days were just but at the same time, you know, whatever. Australia's pretty good. I don't know if I'd choose to live anywhere else. Australia is pretty good. Like, we've got a good benefit system. Everyone sort of knows each other, not that we're like inbred or anything. What I'm saying is, most of us are pretty chill, you know. If you ever come to Australia, mostly, like, pretty much everyone is just gonna want to be your mate, you know? Actually, my other favourite part about this country is, like, there's a massive misconception that most of Australia is desert, and, okay, actually, yes, it is, but most of the eastern side of the country is way more varied than you would actually think. Some of these places are fucking beyond beautiful. Even the place I live in, like, I've shit-talked this town for fucking God knows how many years of my life, but Honestly, there are very few other places I would rather live. Black Yoshi 485 asks, do you like Cheetos? No, they're messy and icky and sticky and I hate them. Colin Dre asks, have you ever played a game in the Tales of series before? If so, what's your favorite? Yeah man, the Tales series is pretty good. I've at least played somewhat all of the 3D ones except for the one on the Wii, the sequel to Tales of Symphonia, I think it was. But out of those, I've only finished Vesperia, Exilia, and Exilia 2, and like, I hear a lot of smack talk about Exilia and Exilia 2, but even then, I really like both of them. Though, of course, they don't really measure up to Symphonia, Vesperia. Vesperia is easily my favorite, and when that remaster comes out, I think it's later this year, buy the absolute fuck out of it. I implore you. Phoenix Teague or something asks, I'm curious to know if you thought that the Everything Wrong with Ratchet and Clank was gonna take off the way it did. Honestly, no. Like, I pretty much just made it because it was April Fool's and I just wanted to copy someone's format just for an April Fool's video. I saw someone copy someone else's format and I can't really remember who it was, but that just sort of inspired me to do it, and I managed to somehow churn it out in about a week and a half. And I sure wish I could do that now. Also, please, I want to hear you screech like a dying cat. Don't know why, I'm in a strange mood while typing this. Alright, I guess, Oh, fuck! Oh, Aaron, never do that again. Oh man, that almost made me throw up. Fucking hell. The Golden Bolts Game Reviews asks, are there any videos that you wish performed better or whose performance maybe disappointed you? I think for how much effort I ended up putting into My Little Pony games, I guess I'm sort of disappointed that it's not even hit 20,000 views yet. Though in saying that, whatever, 20,000 views is still a lot considering where I'm at. So while I'm slightly disappointed, I guess I am grateful that people at least got to see it and laugh at it and stuff, and people enjoyed it, so I don't really care. If I was truly disappointed in any video's performance, it would probably be Sea of Thief. That's one of the videos I'm most proud of, I think, even though it was literally a couple of days of editing and fucking barely any time writing the script. But I don't know, to me, it's still the video that makes me laugh the most, even though some of it's a little bit cringy here and there, but I don't really care. Red Shadow Jr. asks, can you still do your Gliscor impression? Oh fuck, don't make me do that. Oh god. Alright. Gliscor. I don't know if that's a yes or a no. Miles Andrews asks, stupid question, but do you like Green Day? Yeah, kinda, I guess. Pretty much anything before American Idiot, I guess. I don't know. I still listen to Brain Stew and Jaded quite a lot, but pretty much anything after American Idiot onwards is just kind of meh to me. I'm not really a big fan of their more well-performing songs like American Idiot, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, stuff like that, Oh Love. I kind of like their more underappreciated hits, like, well, not even hits. Like, for some reason, I really like Murder City and Nuclear Family. I don't even know if that was like a charting single or not, but those two, for some reason, I really like to listen to a lot. Rainbow Master 64 asks, what do you think of how Insomniac Games has been doing lately? Do you think they're going downhill, or do you think they're still going well? Well, they do have a major release coming up in Marvel's Spider-Man, so I'm pretty sure they're still doing pretty well for themselves. Even with the whole Puddlegate controversy, I still think Insomniac's gonna do fine in the future, whether they return the Ratchet and Clank or not. John Mariscal asks, how's your mum doing? Is she okay after the stabbing incident? Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. For people who aren't up to date with this, I made a video a while back talking about how my mum, she was attacked by another woman with a knife. She was stabbed in the neck. She pretty much could have died on the spot if it weren't for an ambulance worker who was there on the scene coincidentally, which was friggin' lucky, but I won't talk too much about it, obviously. It's obviously more of a family thing, but yep, she's made a full recovery from it. She's totally fine. If anything, the mosquito bite that she had at the time she was stabbed, which caused her to be in a wheelchair, that's still fucking there on her leg. But yeah, otherwise she's fine. She made a full recovery pretty quickly, really. Francis Ultima Striker X asks, ever thought of having a co-host for your Everything Wrong with videos or reviews in general? A co-host, like a permanent co-host, probably not. I'd probably get some people to collab with me at some point when I decide that I'm not antisocial enough to actually organize one, but yeah, that could happen at some point. Have you watched Boku no Hero Academia / My Hero Academia? If so, what season are you in? I'm not up to date with My Hero Academia yet. I kind of want to wait until the season is finished so I can just sort of binge watch, I guess. But hell yeah, man, My Hero Academia is some fucking good shit. Like, I won't act that it's like the second coming of Christ like some people seem to think it is, but it manages to do a pretty good job at turning some of the shonen tropes on its head. You know, like obviously a lot of them are still there, but it's not as like needlessly drawn out as Naruto or One Piece or something, and that's what I've always wanted from a shonen, so I'm glad that My Hero Academia is doing so well. Ryan Fanstone asks, what do you think is the prettiest game of all time, including favorite game art style as well? If we're talking straight up, like technically the best looking game of all time, it's maybe a toss-up between God of War, the new God of War, obviously, or Detroit Become Human. Some of the scenes in Detroit probably could have had me fooled. You know, I would have thought some of those people were real, which is funny because when I thought that, they were androids. So if we're talking art style, it's Journey. It's easily Journey, hands down. Okami would probably be a very close second, but Journey, one of the most beautiful games I've ever played, both in terms of visuals and sound. The Ruby Red Rose asks, you mentioned a while back that you have a condition called nystagmus. When were you first diagnosed with it? I was diagnosed pretty much the second I was born. Like, the second you, for lack of a better term, come out of the womb, you open your eyes, there it is, pretty much. Sometimes it can sort of develop a little later on in life, but essentially I pretty much had it from the start of my life, from birth. It was really bad growing up, like my eyes were literally uncontrollable for several years, but as I've grown up, I've sort of learned to control it, I guess. I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's not like I'm constantly thinking to sort of counteract the direction my eyes are trying to look in, but essentially it has gotten a lot better. I still have to sort of take breaks from doing things every now and then, like I think I said in the previous video, and it also essentially means that there is a very, very low possibility of me ever getting behind the wheel. It's something like, there was a statistic that I read once, it's like 8 or 9 out of 10 people who have nystagmus will never drive. And I can kind of see why, because it's really hard for me to just keep focused on particular objects, and I feel like that would be a particularly bad trait to have while driving, so yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. Driving's scary anyway. Marco to Sony asks, do you like pizza with pineapple? Because if you like it, you're insulting Italian cooking tradition. I will have you know that I am a man of culture. Pineapple will be nowhere near my pizza, thank you very much. Harry McCann asks, are you ever going to do a review of Daxter or The Lost Frontier? Maybe somewhere down the line. There could either be a review or a sin video in them somewhere. I honestly don't know yet. I haven't exactly planned very far ahead. Also, have you ever considered a career in stand-up? Mate, I have enough trouble standing up from a sitting position. How the fuck do you think I'm going to go with a stand-up career? Toki asks, what's your favorite genre of music? And what's your opinion on metal music and lo-fi music? The weird thing with me is I don't really tie myself down to genres. I just sort of like to listen to songs that have a particular sound to them. If I had to narrow it down, it'd probably be like, I don't know, maybe pop punk, metal, J-rock, maybe, I don't know. One of those 3 probably. As for metal and lo-fi hip-hop, or whatever the freaking question said, lo-fi hip-hop, yeah, sure, whatever. It's nice. It depends on the artist, I guess. Some artists manage to churn out some really, really good atmospheric music that I think is perfect to listen to while I'm editing. But sometimes it's just kind of boring, so like, again, it's not so much the genre itself, it's just sort of more I'm looking for songs that have a particular sound. And metal, hell yeah, man, metal's good shit. Again, it's got to be a particular kind of metal. I'm not really a big fan of like the straight up metal bands that just sort of, it's kind of hard to explain. There are certain bands where every song just kind of sounds the same. And Nick, I know if you're listening, you know exactly what I'm going to say, and I bet you're fucking groaning right now. There's just certain bands where once you've heard one song, you've heard them all, and I don't know. So I prefer the bands where they try to mix it up a bit. They try to introduce new sounds to their sound. But otherwise, yeah, metal's probably one of my favorite genres. Crescendo asks, if you were to undo one thing in your life, what would it be, and why? Well, your name's kind of fitting for this, because if I could undo one thing, I would probably pick a different subject for year 9 and 10. I'd probably ditch either the computer or art class that I did and instead go for music. I realized just a little too late in life that well, I guess it's not too late, I'm only 25, but I realized perhaps just a little too late that I really wanted to learn an instrument. Ever since I started experimenting, well, not experimenting, they're not exactly instruments, but ever since I started playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band, I was sort of looking into it a bit more, and I picked up Rocksmith, which managed to do a really good job at actually getting me into playing guitar. And even though I haven't touched it in a very long time, I'm still pretty keen to actually get back into it. And obviously the skills don't transfer one-to-one, but I've gotten pretty decent at Rock Band drums, so I wouldn't mind giving that a try sometime, you know, see how the skills transfer. They're probably not very well, but people say playing Rock Band, Guitar Hero, those sort of music rhythm games, they sort of like, they get the shits at them because they sort of think it's a replacement for learning the real instrument, when more than anything, they sort of encouraged me to actually learn how to play music, and I think that's one of their greatest strengths. Kirby the Artist asks, what Mario game do you like the most and like the least? Okay, straight up, the one that I like the most is probably Mario 3D World on the Wii U, which, like, my answer was originally probably going to be Odyssey, if I did this Q&A several months ago. But after letting that game sit in my mind for a little while, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm not too crash hot on Odyssey. Not to make me sound like a big fucking elitist, but that Joseph Anderson, or was it Jordan Peterson? I always get the two confused, but his video pretty much confirmed everything I disliked about the game, and that sort of brought it down a lot and pushed Mario 3D World back up into the top. Because that's a game that knows what it wants to be. It is a linear platforming game that pretty much plays like a 3D version of the older games, whereas Odyssey has elements of that, but it also wants to try and be more sandbox based like the other ones, and it just doesn't do a particularly good job of either. So yeah, favorite is Mario 3D World. Least favorite is definitely not Odyssey though. It's probably somewhere in the middle. Least favorite, ooh. Out of the ones I've played, it would probably be New Super Mario Bros. Wii or Wii U. I'm not too sure. Just because those games are extremely derivative, and while they're still good games in their own right, they just don't really bring that much new to the table apart from a couple of power-ups. And while you could sort of say that thing about Super Mario 3D World, I think there was just something more refreshing about its 3D take on the 2D platforming genre. Who do you hate more, Mipha or Emperor Otto? I mean, I really only hate Mipha as a character, but Emperor Otto is just a massive fucking idiot and a terrible fucking boss, so easily Emperor Otto. And have you played Kirby? I'll be honest, I've tried Kirby, I've tried to get into it, but it's just kind of weirdly too easy for me, but I can totally see why so many people are into this. Fucking amazingly cute aesthetic, great music. Some of my favorite music actually has sort of come from that series. Butter Building from Super Smash Bros., which was a remix of Butter Building, obviously. One of my favorite video game songs pretty much ever. I know that's technically from Brawl, but whatever. Fucking fight me. Greenlight Productions asks, what's your opinion on fan bases? Ugh. I pretty much don't really have an opinion on them. I mean, like, obviously some of these fan bases can be kind of a little bit cringy with the way they idolize over certain characters and, I don't know, make them into things they're not, and, like, some of it is just super fucking weird. But fan bases of a particular piece of media do not affect my enjoyment of that piece of media, and they never will, and I don't see any reason why they would. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you'll see frisking around in Alpheus's arsehole or something, but that's not gonna... If that ruins the characters for you, then fuck. I don't know what to say, you know? Enjoy the game. If the fanbase is a little cringy or a little over the top or something like that, just ignore it, you know? Kyle Campbell asks, what is the dumbest thing you ever got stuck on in a video game? I don't know if it's necessarily the dumbest because I don't remember half of my fucking gaming experiences, but I remember having so much trouble with Metal Gear Rising's parry system that I almost put the game down straight up. Like, I could not figure it out, and the game was just making it so much more frustrating not knowing how to do it. But once I figured it out, you know, it was totally fine. There was nothing honestly wrong with the parry system. I guess it was just kind of explained a bit weird or something like that. And once I figured it out, it pretty much became the best game ever, so whatever. Felix asks, can you tell us what goes into making your videos? You know, your process, how long it takes, that sort of stuff. Okay, alright. So usually while I'm already working on another video, I'm already sort of planning out the next video. So, well, maybe not even the next video, maybe several videos down the line. Like as I'm recording now, I've already got a whole bunch of videos planned. Like I've got Final Fantasy Parts 2 and 3 planned. I've got a review for Spyro Hero's Tale. Several bloody short reviews as well. Another review that might hopefully happen during Halloween this year, for like hopefully. So yeah, while I'm working on a video, I'm usually planning ahead. So while I'm editing, sometimes I'll take a break to either play games like a normo, or I'll be working on the next script. And usually that can take anywhere between a couple hours to 10, maybe well over that. And then once I've written the script, it's a matter of setting the recording booth up. So the recording booth, which I'm in right now, is essentially 2 chairs, both facing the same direction. I sit in the middle, I put the microphone and the noise guard on the chair that I'm facing, and then I throw a blanket over the top, and that's it. That's my recording booth. I could do it in my closet, my cupboard or whatever, but unless you've been misinformed, I'm fat and I won't fit. And then after that, I stick the audio through Adobe Audition, and then depending on what type of video I'm making, I either just chuck all of the footage directly into Premiere, or if it's an everything wrong with video where I need the audio and video to be synced up because Premiere's not very good at doing that, then I'll run it through Handbrake, which is a converting program, and that can take or maybe a night, actually. It takes a pretty long time on my computer, my laptop, unfortunately. But then after that, it's straight into editing, and this can take anywhere between a couple of hours, like, say for example, Jak 2 is an easy game, to 40, 50, maybe even longer, like, for example, My Little Pony games, which took a very long time due to having little animated not characters. But after that, takes 7 days to fucking render because my laptop's slow. Kidding, it only takes like probably 8 to 12 hours. That's still way too fucking long though. And then I start uploading, which can take ages if I'm using the Wi-Fi, or if I so happen to have mobile credit, I just do it with that and it takes like 20 minutes. Why is my mobile data better than the fucking Wi-Fi? That's bullshit. Don't move to Australia, folks. Steve McQuark asks, favorite Ratchet & Clank soundtrack, both favorite OST of the series and favorite location soundtrack specifically. For the overall OST, I would probably pick Ratchet & Clank 1, and for the single piece of music from a game, I would probably pick Altanus Orbit from Ratchet & Clank 1. So yeah, Ratchet & Clank 1 for both. Still can't get over how good Altanus Orbit's music is. Just the fucking intro to that track, man. Beatles Fiend asks, what's the worst Ratchet? That's Rock Band, fuck it. What's the worst Rock Band game, excluding Blitz? Well, that's good. I probably wouldn't have picked Blitz anyway, because Blitz is fucking good. Harmonix Remaster, when? Do it now, please. Out of the mainline games, probably the original, because the original is just what Rock Band 4 is, but somehow even more bare bones. People go against Rock Band 4 a lot. They say it's somehow worse than the original in terms of features and stuff, when in reality, it's no. The original Rock Band, like, it's got a decent soundtrack, I guess, but like, that's all it's kind of going for it compared to any of the other Rock Bands. There's no point owning the original unless you either want to import the songs or want to go for achievements. So I'd probably say that's the worst one out of the mainline games. Otherwise, I would say either Green Day or AC/DC, because both of those, they don't really have particularly fun songs to play, or they're just overly repetitive. And Green Day doesn't really have the benefit of Guitar Hero, Metallica, or Aerosmith, or Van Halen had that. They had other artists' songs on there as well, whereas with Green Day, it's literally just Green Day. So unless you're a big Green Day fan, then why bother? You know? Raymond KG asks, if Jak 4 would be announced, how would the story go? Hurry up, you only got 20 seconds to tell the whole story. Go, cunt. Fuck, okay, Jak and Daxter and Kira, they're traveling to a mountain to harvest more eco. And then Jak falls into a hole and accidentally pulls Daxter down, and then they land on a flower bed, and then they meet a flower, and then the flower goes, hi, my name's Flowey, wanna eat my love pellets? And then Daxter's like, fuck off. Oh, shit. Mac McSkullface asks, overall, who do you think has the better exclusives, Sony or Nintendo? I love how Xbox isn't even in the equation. Nintendo do put out a lot of good games, but sometimes they're sort of tied down by the need to stick to the principles that they've always stuck to, you know? Or sometimes they just try to innovate a little too much, like with Star Fox Zero or whatever it was on the Wii U. Did it really need those motion controls? Like, no. At the same time, while Sony also has good exclusives, they also have a lot of games that are kind of, what's the word here? They're trying to be movies, I guess? Like God of War, The Last of Us, upcoming games like Days Gone. I'm not sure how Days Gone is going to play out, but whatever. Ghost of Tsushima could maybe fall into that as well, I'm not sure. Sony does have a lot of games like that. So honestly, I can't really decide. There's a lot of games I like from both sides and a lot of games I hate from both sides. Dominic Wozniak, my fucking god, asks, are traps gay? No, what are you, gay? If you could be any lizard, what lizard would it be? Do dragons count? I don't care, they count now. Dragon, there you go. If you could be any character in any video game, movie, book, or anything, what character would it be and why? Well, I think I did say Ratchet earlier because he's a cute little fucking orange, brown, whatever, ball of hair, which is pretty much me. Or, going off dragons from just before, how about Spyro the Dragon? Who wouldn't want to be that cute little purple piece of shit? I just want to fucking grab his head and just crush it in my fucking head! Spookster McBone asks, what is the most regrettable thing you've done on the internet? Well, apart from every tweet I've ever released on Twitter ever, the fact that people now know I write fanfiction is probably up there. Team Sexy Pants Awesomeness asks, what else do you do other than game in your spare time? I don't know if I answered this or not, but whatever, I'll just answer it again. Pretty much gaming is my life, which is so very, very sad. But when I'm not gaming, fucking hell, gaming. When I'm not playing video games, I'm probably, I don't know, out for a walk, listening to music, that sort of thing. I don't really have much of a life. Commander and or not Commander asks, do you ever feel like you're selling yourself out when collecting ad revenue and collecting Patreon subscriptions? Not really, maybe like just a little sometimes. Sometimes it can be a little bit heavy, like sometimes I'll post on Twitter, oh my god, you Patreon dudes are the best, thank you guys so much for donating to me. And then sometimes I think people will read that and they'll go, oh well, I know how to get attention from Vale now, or something like that, I don't know. But sometimes yes, most of the time no. If people want to donate, they can, and then like, you know, whatever. Adblock, I don't really care so much about, like, I do still make a decent bit of money from it though, but I try not to go too overboard with the ads. Like, I try to limit it to one ad per, say, 10 minutes. So yeah, I try not to break that rule. Why are you always so harsh on yourself regarding everything wrong with yourself? If you can learn the art of self-deprecation, then, like, mean comments and stuff, they don't really get to you anymore. I guess that's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is I just like self-deprecating comedy, so I don't know, it's just fun to poke fun at yourself once in a while. If your channel does grow in the future to a large amount of subscribers, do you see yourself making these videos primary, or are you going to shift to another demographic? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about here. I guess you're talking about the Sin videos, to which I say that's probably a big maybe. I don't really know if I plan on doing these videos forever. It could eventually get to the point where I get burnt out. Maybe there aren't any games anymore that I want to sin/win, so maybe I'll move on. Maybe I'll just focus on making reviews, making those Sea of Thief style Donkey Clone videos, bloody short reviews and all that sort of stuff. But for the time being, none of my series are going anywhere, so yeah. Slinging Slasher asks, would you rather beat Ratchet & Clank Size Matters 3 times or watch the Emoji Movie 5 times? Well, not only is watching the Emoji Movie 5 times shorter than beating Size Matters 3 times, but yeah, the Emoji Movie isn't really that bad. Like, it's just painfully mediocre more than anything. So if I had the choice, yes, I would probably just pick the Emoji Movie. I'm not sure I would ever have any sort of want or reason to return to Size Matters ever again, so the further I stay away from that, the better. Dominic Brierly asks, you mentioned that you have a lot of siblings and that you're from Sydney, so my question is, are you from the west part? And if so, are the stereotypes true or just bullshit? Wait, what? Where did that come from? What? When did I say that? No, I'm nowhere near Sydney. I'm like 500 kilometers south of Sydney. I live down on the south coast. I haven't really spent enough time in Sydney to tell you if the stereotypes are true, so sorry, mate. Lubo Nakin, I don't know, asks, you should do everything great about Ratchet & Clank, the whole series. Alright, I'm sorry to disappoint people, but I'm just gonna go ahead and deconfirm this now. No. No, I would really rather not go back to Ratchet & Clank for a very, very long time. And even if I do, I'm not doing the whole series. There is no way on earth that I'm going back to do everything great about Ratchet & Clank. Though, everything wrong with Ratchet & Clank 3, I really don't like that video. So at some point, I will redo that as an everything wrong and right with. But that'll be the only Ratchet & Clank video that I redo. The rest, I think they're totally fine as is. There's a couple mistakes, there's a couple dud sins strewn throughout, but otherwise, Ratchet & Clank 3, I do want to return to that at some point. But yes, from here on, no more Ratchet & Clank, at least not Sin videos. Geo-Busboy asks, what is your favorite TV or screen thing? I don't want to discriminate against movies, TV shows, animes, yada yada yada, you get the point. Okay, if we're talking TV shows, I'd probably say Archer, pre-Season 9, I'm not a big fan of Season 9 so far. BoJack Horseman, which is utterly fantastic from like Episode 5 onwards. And I guess I'll throw some cartoons in as well. Well, I guess the past two were cartoons, whatever. The Amazing World of Gumball and Gravity Falls, which I guess are kind of default answers in some regard, but the animation of The Amazing World of Gumball is just fucking on point, dude. And Gravity Falls was just a joy from start to finish. As for anime, I have a big list. Let me just pop it up real quick. The anime, in no particular order that I enjoy, would be Steins Gate, Gurren Lagann, Welcome to the NHK, Kill la Kill, Madoka Magica, Redline, Space Dandy, Durarara, K-On!, and Nichijou. And probably also Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood fits in there somewhere. I forgot to write it down, but yes. What food is enjoyed by the YouTuber valeforXD? As I said in the last video, potato bake is probably my straight up favorite. Like, chuck some bacon in there, fucking top it off with some Smith's potato chips. It tastes better than it sounds, trust me. Other than that, pretty much anything Mexican, nachos, tacos, burritos, whatever. Oh, and chicken parmigiana, you can't forget that shit. Though specifically more of an Italian style of parmigiana, so The tomato paste as usual, chuck your fucking ham on there or whatever if you want. But then, before you throw the cheese on, slice up some olives, chuck that on there, slice up a bit of feta, chuck that on there too, then throw the cheese on, whatever cheese you fucking want. Good shit. Fucking good shit. AskGo asks, your content is so good, and this type of content is very hard to find these days, so where do you get all the ideas from? This is the funniest comment I've read all day. Let me tell you, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Big Lad asks, what's your biggest fear? I've got 2 funny stories for this actually. Well, maybe not funny, but whatever. But, so my generic fears are birds and bees. But, as a kid, I've sort of gotten over this fear now, but as a kid, I was very afraid of death. There was a point in time where I thought that when you die, you still maintain consciousness. So essentially, even though you can't move and stuff, they're literally burying you alive, even though you're dead, I guess, which kind of makes sense and kind of doesn't make sense. I was a fucked up kid, but whatever. So one night while my cousin was babysitting me, it was about 10:30 at night, suddenly I just sat up in bed and I started screaming, I don't want to die! From what I've been told, that sort of happened, like probably every second or third night for about a month, so that was, yeah, not proud of that one. The other big fear, which I still kind of have, not quite as much, but sometimes it can still kind of get to me, is, it's awfully specific, essentially really strong winds against really big windows. Let me explain, like, it was on my 19th birthday, I want to say. The room that I was staying in, which was essentially just a veranda, but it was just sectioned off with walls to be turned into a room, it had probably one of the biggest windows in town. It stretched several meters across, so it was fucking massive. But essentially, there was like a little indent in it. It kind of looked like a bullet struck it and then fell out. And it was always kind of weird, and I always sort of questioned it like that. Like, did someone try to drive by the house or something? But probably not. But anyway, it was probably a rock or something, I don't know. But on the night of my probably 19th birthday, I was lying in bed. I was actually charting one of my first songs for, well, at the time it was Frets on Fire, because Clone Hero was now. But yeah, Frets on Fire. And it had been really windy for like the past 4 or 5 hours. And eventually I got super tired. I finished the song, so I put the laptop away. And then 2 minutes after getting under my blanket and then lying down, my bed was essentially under the window, and then suddenly this massive gust of wind comes out of nowhere, and then I just hear a crack, and I open my eyes, and the whole window is just falling down on top of me. And when it lands, like, the massive crack that's just formed down the middle just gives way, and the whole thing just shatters, and I just fucking shit myself, man. It was not pleasant. So for the next 2 days, I had to sleep in a lounge room, and then only then we got it fixed. Well, I say fixed, but it was more like taping a whole bunch of like industrial plastic to the window to cover it up, which actually did a surprising job. It was still really windy around that time, but yeah, it took a while to get the window fixed. But even then, just big windows and big winds still freak the shit out of me because of that. It's kind of weirdly specific, but a lot of us have that sort of weirdly specific fear. Mine's just even more weirdly specific than normal. Logan LaRock asks, have you bought a pixelizer? Please don't, you'll give me Vietnam flashbacks. Nintendo Galaxy asks, what is your favorite Splatoon 2 weapon, gear setup, and hairstyle? Well, I don't know about like gear setup, but the hairstyle is probably the weird sort of floofy hairstyle that the main squid kid has on the front of the box, which is fucking, I wish I could have that hair in real life. And my weapon of choice is almost always one of the 2 aero sprays, which, yeah, I'm gonna get labeled as a casual now, but for fuck's sake, it has a firing range that is weaker than my stream of piss, so if you can't dodge that, then what the fuck is wrong with you? Ender asks, if you had a gun with 1 bullet and you were in a room with Ratchet, Clank, Nebby, and Morgana from Persona 5, who would you kill? Horror Kid asks, which Ratchet & Clank game did you put the most hours into? Easily Ratchet & Clank 3, like I finished that within like 2 days of getting it, and then after that it was just replaying it over and over again to grab everything, and even then I'd just reset my file and play through it again, because that's just how much I loved that game as a kid. That plus I was poor and couldn't afford any other games, but yes, definitely Ratchet & Clank 3. Famsis asks, when did you start playing video games, and did your parents have some strict rules on them? Though we had a bunch of games on the Sega, I said Genesis in the last video, it's actually the Mega Drive here in Australia, but the Sega Mega Drive and the PS1, I only really started getting into games more so when we had the PS2, when we had games like The Wrath of Cortex, Scooby-Doo, Final Fantasy X, which, touching on whether our parents were strict or not, we got a PlayStation for Christmas. A PlayStation 2. We got a PlayStation 2 for Christmas, and it came with Final Fantasy X and a demo disc, and let's just say we were only allowed to play the demo disc. Mum was like, haha, no, it's rated M, you are not touching that, haha, no. Though she eventually sort of loosened up on that rule, which was kind of nice, but eventually, yeah, Mum and Dad weren't too strict on what sort of video games we'd play. Like, even when I was around 13, 14, that sort of age, I was able to buy and play M-rated games, even MA-rated games like God of War, which was kind of neat, but Mum eventually drew the line at San Andreas, which Dad sent us a copy of that. So Dad was pretty lax with what we could and couldn't play. Mum was eventually like, no, I'm going to hide this game and you're not allowed to play it until you're older, and she just sort of hid it in a cupboard, and it was very easy to find, so we just played it when she wasn't home. Joey Hudson asks, what is your favorite car? Just like every other what is your favorite X question in this friggin' video, I don't know if I have a single favorite. There's probably a couple I'd pick. The Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG Black Edition, I think it's like a 2012 model or something. The Zenvo GT1, which I've heard catches fire quite easily, but that doesn't really affect my opinion of the car. It's a fucking good car. It's fucking beautiful. The Toyota Supra, because I'm a filthy casual, and the Nissan GTR Black Edition, again, filthy casual. Oh, and the, I think it's the 2011 or 2012 model of the Renault Megane, which I know is kind of a weird car to, like, have as one of your favorites, but I don't know. I think it's a really cool little car. Monster Energy UK asks, who would take the fastest lap on a Rallycross RX track, Liam Doran 3 or yourself? I don't know, man. I mean, I'm pretty handy with a handbrake. I can take those corners pretty fucking fast. Also, wow, I should have picked a better hashtag. The Foolish channel asks, can you please tell me what your favorite Ratchet & Clank game is? I've been dying to know personally. Probably 3. If I had to pick, it would be from the original quadrilogy, I guess, but it is probably 3, even though I know it has its issues and stuff. 3, definitely. Also, can I ask for some YouTube advice? I'm struggling at the moment, and I don't know if I'll make it to the 20 subs mark, and I do all kinds of shit. Okay, so I'm probably not the first guy you should come to for advice. I sort of lucked out on YouTube. I pretty much just made an April Fool's video and that took off, and then I sort of rode that train for a while. But there's a couple things, I guess. Like, the first thing you should do if you're going into YouTube is don't go into it for, like, monetary gain. Make videos because you enjoy making videos. Put out videos that you yourself will enjoy, because if you don't enjoy them, what are the chances that people who are watching are going to enjoy them? Also, while I haven't clicked on your channel or anything, you say that you do a lot of stuff. Depending on how many different things you're doing, that could potentially be a downfall for your channel, at least early on. If you are trying to gain subscribers, kinda sorta stick to one thing for a little bit. If you've only got so many subscribers and you're trying to do a myriad of different things, you're only gonna have a couple of subscribers for each of those different things you do. So if you do Let's Plays, you've got 3 subscribers. If you do fucking cooking videos as an example or something, you've only got 3 subscribers for that or something like that. Kind of sort of stick to the one thing for the most part while you try and gain your subscriber base, and then sort of branch out from there, because it's going to be very hard to do different things when you're only just starting out. Other than that, just know that making it big on YouTube is very, very unlikely. So don't put yourself down if you think you're failing, if you don't think you've got as many subscribers as you want, I guess. You've just sort of got to keep trying. Like, I only had about 130 subs, I think it was, until I released Everything Wrong with Ratchet & Clank 3, and that was sort of my big ticket. So you've just got to keep at it, you know? Spyro the Dragon Beetle asks, what's your favorite type of furry porn to watch when you need to pass the time? Oh. Inanimate TF's next question. Cosman29 asks, I think the I don't like change thing is getting old. Can you try saying it in other languages? That is, if your fat ass could be bothered to do it. Ich mag kein Veränderung. Non mi piace il cambiamento. Jag gillar inte förändring. Watashi wa henka ga kinirirai. Minyan nravits jezin menyenja. Tyler Kazuba or something asks, let's play a game of Bang, Marry, Kill. Misty, May, and Dawn. Who would you bang, marry, and kill? I'd probably bang Misty because her temper would be a bit of a bitch to be around most of the time. I'd marry May because she's probably the most pure girl of all of them, the precious little cinnamon roll that she is. And I'd kill Dawn because who the fuck cares about Dawn? Where the fuck is Vale Hero, you cunt? I want to play your shitty emo music and steal some of your charts already. Honestly, I wanted to have Vale Hero out in its entirety right now. Well, probably like towards the end of the year, actually, more than anything, but it's just kind of a little bit too hard to juggle that and making videos, which is obviously the more prosperous of the two. So the full release of Vale Hero, I mean, it's probably a little while off yet, but like I said in the last video, if you want to go download a whole bunch of songs that I've already made, check out WeebTrashXD. It'll be in the description below. You can download any of the songs from there. You can download a big pack of like 20 songs, and when I finish songs, you'll be able to download them from there. What's your favorite breed of dogs? And if you don't like dogs, I'm gonna buy a plane ticket to your shitty little town, bust down your door, and slap you with your own plastic guitar. What? No, you can't ask me to choose my favorite dog breed. I guess if I had to choose, it'd probably be... See, I can't pick one. I'm physically incapable of picking one favorite thing. I don't know. Either Golden Retriever, Border Collie, or a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I don't know. One of those three, I guess. Stop making me pick favorite things. It's hard. That one guy asks, I'm not sure exactly why I'm asking this, but why is your background in most videos the Minecraft cobblestone texture? Oh my fucking god, it is. No. It's got nothing to do with Minecraft. When I sort of rebranded my channel a little bit back in 2017 with a new avatar and stuff, and I went for the new color scheme of orange and like sort of carbon black, carbon gray, I needed a new background, and going with the bricks. I was going with bricks, and that wasn't going to work out because Haydox already did that. So what I did instead was I grabbed any old random image I could find, which at the time was I think it was either a wallpaper or a piece of concept art from Darksiders. I pixelated the shit out of it, and then I just started randomly coloring squares until it looked a bit better, I guess. Yeah, graphic design is my passion. Loyal asks, what kind of habits do I have to pursue in order to have such a beautiful, nerdy voice like you do? I don't know, be really fat. And finally, Demask asks, why do we still live together? You know what, Dylan, I don't even fucking know anymore. All you do is call me a pig, and all we ever do at each other is fucking moan at each other like, ah! That's all we fucking do. Why don't you just move out, you piece of shit? Fuck off the fucking Frankston. That way I won't hear your goddamn moaning in your sleep at 2 a.m. Ah! Anyway, guys, that's fuck, my throat hurts. That's it for the first valeforXD Q&A. I might do another one of these in the future, because honestly, this is pretty fun to do, even though my throat is drier than my delivery in my videos. So, to everyone who submitted questions, thank you. They were a lot of fun to read out and answer and stuff. So, again, if I didn't read out your question, it's just because it was already asked before you, or I just didn't have an interesting answer, or I just cut it for the sake of time, because these videos are probably ridiculously long as it is. So, I probably will do another one in the future, so stick around, and I'll announce one, I don't know, when I get more subs, I guess. Anyway, as per usual, if you enjoyed this shit show, just click the like button. If you want to see more shit shows, click the subscribe button. Click the alert button, you'll see a shit show right on your mobile phone device. There's a little notification in your little tray, and you'll be able to click it, and you'll be able to see my shit show right there and then. If you want to see a shit show in real time, fucking join my Discord. I'm on there every 3 years, so you might catch me. I don't know. Or if you want updates on my shit show, or you just want to see me ramble on about literally fucking nothing, about being a depressed cunt, then follow me on Twitter. Don't follow me on Facebook, because I don't post there anymore, because Facebook's a pile of shit. If you like my shit show, then subscribe to my Patreon. Donate to my Patreon. Actually, there's no subscribe button on Patreon. That's a design flaw. Patreon, what are you doing? Throw me money, I'll say your name at the end of videos, but not this one, because this isn't a real one, and my throat hurts. Also, there was something else. Check the link in the description, you can check out my Clone Hero stuff that I've been plugging. It's not as much of a shit show, so, yeah. Anyway, I will see you guys in November, because Dragon Quest XI is out, and you guys can all go get fucked. I'm valeforXD, and I hope you have a shit fucking day. Thanks for watching.